As long as there's two people left on the planet, someone is going to want someone dead. And this is certainly the case in the land of Tamriel. Because of this, organizations like the Dark Brotherhood and the Morag Tong were able to thrive during certain time periods, with their members making a living by assassinating people, legal or otherwise. But with all these assassins sneaking about, this begs the question, who is the greatest assassin in all of Tamriel? Who is the most successful? And who is the most skilled? Hello, my fellow hirelings of House Telvanni. I'm Neloth, and today we are going to be discussing who I believe are the contenders for the best assassin, and then afterwards, I shall declare who I believe is the greatest assassin written in the Elder Scrolls. Before we begin, as always, let me state that this is not a ranked video, so nobody is in any specific order except for the last individual mentioned. Additionally, I will not be including any Elder Scrolls protagonists, as the point of this video is to analyze the deeper lore and to learn about characters you might not have heard of otherwise. Besides, one person's protagonist may have joined the Dark Brotherhood and assassinated the Emperor, but another person's protagonist may have instead beat the assassins to death with their bare hands. But I know many of you will ignore this and type the Dragonborn in the comments anyways, which doesn't bother me in the least. Kill me. With all that being said, let us sneak our way into this video and kill the competition. Oh, and a huge shout out to my channel members Mirak and Kristen. Cicero. Cicero, also known as the Fool of Hearts, was an Imperial assassin in the Dark Brotherhood who also served as keeper to the Night Mother, basically tending to her decayed corpse. I say he's Imperial, but because of his unique petite size, I have a theory that he may be half Bosmer. Anyways, not much is known about his past, which will be a theme for many of these assassins, but he was originally stationed at the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary in Bruma until it was destroyed. Afterwards, Cicero was welcomed into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary of Cheydinhal with open arms and proceeded to do his usual contract killings. Some of his kills involved killing a Baroness and her handmaiden, killing the Grand Champion of Cyrodiil by posing as a star-struck adoring fan, obviously a reference to Oblivion, killing a silk merchant but foregoing the bonus in order to kill the merchant's daughter, who was a witness to the crime, and before taking on the duties as keeper, Cicero was given one final contract, the assassination of a jester whose laugh would eventually become rather contagious for poor Cicero. After all of the members of the Cheydinhal Sanctuary were killed or possibly deserted, which may have been the case with Garnag, Cicero then fled to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary in Skyrim with the Night Mother in tow. However, he was very disgruntled with how Astrid, the matron of the Skyrim Sanctuary, disregarded the old ways, which eventually led to him exploding violently. He attempted to kill Astrid but was stopped by Vizara, and so he fled, with another Brotherhood member named Arnbjorn chasing after him. Cicero then fled to the Dawnstar Sanctuary, an abandoned sanctuary whose location he kept to himself, and was able to injure Arnbjorn, who, I should add, is a big-ass Nord werewolf, so for someone as small as Cicero to go toe-to-toe with him is quite impressive. His fate is ultimately left in the hands of the player character. However, if the player decides to finish Cicero off, who appears to be bleeding out in a corner, he will instead lunge at the player with full vigor, showcasing he can still fight while in serious pain, or his injuries against Arnbjorn were greatly exaggerated. I think Cicero is a very skilled assassin that kept true to the ways of the Brotherhood and his duties as keeper, and he was able to survive the destruction of 2 Dark Brotherhood sanctuaries, 3 if you want to count the Falkreath one, but I do think there are better assassins. Lucien Lachance. Lucien Lachance was also an Imperial assassin, but he was also a speaker for the Dark Brotherhood, the second highest rank in the whole organization. While probably the most infamous assassin on this list, not much is known about him. He was once in possession of the Blade of Woe, which is the legendary artifact of the Dark Brotherhood, and he became the speaker of the Cheydinhal Sanctuary when the previous speaker was killed fulfilling a contract. He is also responsible for training the Shadow Scales Ochiva and Tinava when they were hatchlings, which is very interesting as the Shadow Scales have a training facility in the Argonian city of Arkan. So it's possible the Shadow Scales held Lucien in such high regard that they permitted him to train some Shadow Scales himself. Or maybe non-Argonians training Shadow Scales is more common than we think, but maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. However, Lucien was eventually betrayed and framed by a traitor to the Dark Brotherhood named Matthew Bellamont, or just Matthew Bellamont. He manipulated Lucien's listener, the player character in Oblivion, into killing off members of the Black Hand. The surviving members of the Black Hand believed Lucien was the culprit, and before the player character could clear his name, he was gruesomely tortured and killed. But hey, his name did get cleared after. However, the reason why I think Lucien is one of the greats is more than just the fact that he was an icon in the game Oblivion, but because after joining the Dreadfather in the Void, he would become a spectral spirit who could be summoned by members of the Dark Brotherhood to aid in combat or offer advice. While we can see Dark Brotherhood members as spirits, none we know can willingly be summoned, and so I believe that Sithis himself recognizes Lucien's deeds as an assassin and preserves him to guide the future of the Dark Brotherhood, or what's left of it. And achieving the rank of Speaker is no small effort either. Ahknara. Ahknara is a Redguard woman who is not a member of the Dark Brotherhood or Morag Tong, but is actually a spy master for the Daggerfall Covenant during the events of ESO. Near the beginning of the Three Banners War, the Aldmeri Dominion invaded a part of Hammerfell and captured a Redguard ship in the process. Ahknara was on board this ship, and as the ship sailed to a recently captured Dominion fort, Ahknara systematically assassinated every single elf aboard the ship. And afterwards, when the ship finally landed on that Dominion-captured fort, Ahknara proceeded to assassinate every single Dominion soldier stationed in the fort. All the while, a Redguard army was just chilling outside waiting for her to be done. Ahknara became quite infamous across all of Tamriel, as members of the Ebonheart Pact even knew her name, and she likely carried out many more assassinations for the Daggerfall Covenant. However, she met her end when she attempted to take over a Dunmer fort called Fort Arand and was killed by the player character. Not the most well-known assassin in lore, but I thought her deeds were pretty damn good. Lyra Viria. Lyra Viria is another Imperial assassin, but this time she's a woman and also a traitor to the Dark Brotherhood. She was originally a Dark Brotherhood member who resided at the Zith Izkul Sanctuary, which is located on the border between Cyrodiil and Blackmarsh. Lyra was exceptionally good at what she did, killing with impunity and leaving many corpses in her wake. Green Venom Tongue, another member of her sanctuary, said that she was the most skilled assassin in her sanctuary. Before long, she achieved the rank of Silencer, the third highest rank in the Brotherhood. However, one fateful day, Lyra was ordered by the Black Hand to perform purification on her own sanctuary, which meant that Lyra had to kill all of her fellow Dark Brotherhood assassins she had known for most of her life. She successfully and skillfully assassinated everyone, proving herself to be extremely capable, and afterwards was ordered to kill a man named Primate Jonas, who was leader of the knightly order called the Order of the Hour, who were zealously dedicated to Akatosh. Lyra was extremely lost and depressed, which makes sense after killing your best friends, and was then approached by a man named Artorius, who revealed he performed the Black Sacrament to have Primate Jonas killed. Afterwards, Artorius convinced Lyra to forsake the Dark Brotherhood and join the Order of the Hour to serve Akatosh and Artorius as the Black Dragon. During her time as the Black Dragon, Lyra was tasked with killing members of the Dark Brotherhood and finding out the location of the Brotherhood Sanctuary on the Gold Coast in Cyrodiil. Lyra was able to take down many assassins, both initiates and veterans, and during the Dark Brotherhood questline in ESO, she personally killed 5 members and was only defeated by the player character. But not after demonstrating her use of shadow magic, which is an exceptionally powerful form of magic related to the schools of illusion and mysticism. Her shadow magic was so powerful, in fact, that many assassins died to her shadows and shades, and not even by her own hand. Now, Lyra did turn into more of a warrior than assassin when joining the Order of the Hour, but I still think that her skills as an assassin are still legendary, and no Dark Brotherhood member holds a candle to her. Eno Hlaalu. Eno Hlaalu was the Grand Master of the Morag Tong, and aside from originating from House Hlaalu, not much is really known about him. However, there are 2 things that I believe make him a strong contender for this list. The first reason is that he had achieved the highest rank in the Morag Tong of Grand Master, which is absolutely no small accomplishment and represents that he had taken on many writs of execution. The second reason is that when encountering Eno Hlaalu in the game of Morrowind, he is an old man that wishes to retire, and Eno is a Dunmer, so it's not like he's 70 years old, more likely he's around 270 years old. This also indicates the possibility that Eno has been an assassin for over 100 years, if not longer. Most of the assassins in this video don't grow to a fine old age and usually die in the prime of their lives, so Eno being able to live to retirement should tell you a lot about his capabilities. However, if the player wants to kill him rather than let him retire, he does put up a decent fight. And now for an honorable mention to the Shadow Scale Ochiva. Ochiva was an Argonian shadow scale and matron of the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary in Cheydinhal. Aside from being raised as a shadow scale with her twin brother Tinava, and being trained by Lucien Lachance at birth, not much is known about her. However, she is the highest ranking Argonian in the Dark Brotherhood, having the rank of Executioner and also being the matron of her sanctuary. Sadly, there is little information on specific shadow scales, but I wanted to include one in this video, and Ochiva seemed to be the best in my eyes. Sorry, Vizara, but you got bodied by a fucking clown. And now for the grand finale! It is time for me to reveal who I believe is the greatest assassin in all of Tamriel. Some of you may know who I'm talking about, and it is none other than Lyra Viria. Lyra Viria was a female Dunmer who worked as an assassin for the Morag Tong. She performed so many assassinations that she had earned the titles of Mother of Blades and Beautiful Darkness within the Morag Tong. Lyra was born to her father, Lyra Viria, who sponsored both Lyra and her adopted brother Odril, and Lyra grew up to be a seasoned assassin. During her career, Naryu uncovered a plot within the Morag Tong. 7 influential members of the Morag Tong conspired to transform the Morag Tong into much more than an assassin organization, and they also wanted to replace many of the leaders in Morrowind. These 7 individuals were called the 7 Secretives, and they planned to coordinate a coup to take over the Morag Tong, and Naryu was tasked by the Grand Master of the Morag Tong, Rythe Verano, with thwarting that plot. Naryu traveled across all of Tamriel, successfully assassinating the 7 Secretives and piecing the plot together, until she found out that the Grand Master of the Morag Tong, Rythe Verano himself, was the head of this plot and used the 7 Secretives as scapegoats. When Naryu discovered this deception, she tricked her way into a meeting with the warrior poet himself, Vivek, and asked for the tribunal to sanction an extrajudicial execution of the Grand Master, and Vivek agreed and sent an outlander named Boldek to assist her. Naryu tracked Rythe from Morrowind to the Clockwork City to Morrowind again, and eliminated him, the Grand Master of the Morag Tong, and in doing so, restored honor to the Morag Tong, which was a boon to the organization as it had been forced to go underground some time beforehand. From Redoran nobles to Malakath cultists, Naryu has basically assassinated them all. And when she's not assassinating people, she's getting roped up in stopping various threats. Some of these threats include, but not limited to, stopping a cult called the Maulborn, who wished to violently overthrow the tribunal and replace them with the worship of the 3 good Daedra from long before. Preventing the assassination of the Skald King Yorin from his brother Fildgor. Stopping a serial killer in the Gold Coast who went by the name Sweet Roll Killer. Skyrim guards would have had a field day with that one. And also getting involved in the politics of House Redoran, which ended in Naryu's apprentice, Veya, murdering a Redoran named Brivin and her own father, Counselor Eris, after Veya discovered they accidentally killed her brother Ulran. Not the happiest of family reunions. All in all, I would personally say that Naryu is the best, due to how many assassinations we either read about or see firsthand, and just the nature and extent of her deeds. I just wish she would stop leading us on all the damn time. She's like the ESO version of Serana. And that is all I wrote! A video where I talk about who I believe are the best assassins in the Elder Scrolls. Be sure to tell me who you think are the greatest assassins down below. So with all that being said, make sure to like the like button, like the subscribe button, and like the bell notification down below to be updated on future videos. And I will see you whenever the fuck I decide to upload again. House Telvanni be with you.
Please, O hero of Skyrim, I shall be ever so grateful.